Right then, let's get down to business and dive deep into this Josh Okogie rumor, because as a proper Lakers fan here in London, this one's got me thinking. It's always a bit of a mixed bag when you hear about a player being waived, isn't it? On one hand, you think, why were they let go? But then, the savvy fan in you, the one who stays up until 3 a.m. watching games, immediately starts thinking about the potential, especially when it's the Lakers sniffing around. And let's be honest, the Lakers are always in need of that particular kind of player, that tenacious, never-say-die chap who can lock down the opposition's best perimeter threat. That's precisely what Josh Okogie brings to the table, and from a British perspective, that's almost more exciting than a flashy scorer sometimes. We appreciate the graft, the hard work, the commitment to the dirty work, much like a tenacious midfielder in football who just wins every ball. So, Okogie, recently waived by the Hornets, is suddenly on the radar for the purple and gold. Now, for those who might not have followed his career intensely, let me give you the lowdown. This isn't a superstar signing, not a LeBron or an AD, obviously. But he's a player who consistently brings effort and defensive intensity. He's got that raw athleticism, that ability to stick to his man like glue, and is not afraid to get into passing lanes or challenge shots. In a league increasingly dominated by offensive firepower, having a specialist defender, a proper irritant, can be absolutely invaluable. Think about it. How many times have we watched the Lakers struggle against shifty guards or explosive wings? Too many times, mate. Okogie could be that antidote. He's the sort of player who might not fill up the stat sheet with points, but he'll be making the opposing team's star player work for every single bucket, and that wears them down over a 48-minute game. That's proper basketball, that is. The fit with the Lakers culture is always a big talking point, isn't it? And with Okogie, it actually makes a lot of sense. The Lakers have always valued defensive grit. From the Showtime era with guys like Michael Cooper hounding opponents, right through to the championship teams built around defensive anchors. Okogie embodies that spirit. He's a blue-collar player in a league of superstars, and every good team needs those types. He's often compared to a 3-and-D type, though his three-point shot can be a bit inconsistent at times. But his defense is never in doubt. He brings that energy, that hustle, that willingness to chase down loose balls and make those game-changing deflections. Imagine him coming off the bench, injecting that burst of defensive energy into the second unit. That could be absolutely brilliant. It's like when a substitute comes on in a football match and completely changes the momentum with their work rate. From a British fan's perspective, these kinds of signings, the astute ones, are often more satisfying than just splashing cash on another big name. We love to see a team built smartly, with complementary pieces that truly fit together. Okogie isn't going to solve all the Lakers' problems, far from it. But he could be a crucial puzzle piece, especially if the team is looking to reinforce its perimeter defense and add more athleticism without breaking the bank. Free agents like Okogie, who are looking for a chance to prove themselves and contribute to a winning culture, are often incredibly motivated. And a motivated player, especially one with his defensive skill set, can be a real game changer in those crucial playoff moments. You need guys who are willing to do the thankless tasks, to dive for loose balls, to guard the opposing team's best scorer when LeBron or AD need a breather. There's also the potential for Okogie to develop his offensive game further. He's still relatively young, and in the right system, with the right coaching, he might be able to improve his shooting consistency. Even if he just becomes a reliable corner three-point shooter, combined with his elite defense, he becomes an incredibly valuable asset. The Lakers coaching staff has a good track record of developing players, and Okogie could certainly benefit from that. It's a low-risk, potentially high-reward signing. If it works out, the Lakers get a valuable rotation player for a good price. If it doesn't, well, they haven't committed a huge amount of resources. It's a sensible move, a proper bit of business, really. We see that a lot in British football too, where clubs pick up talented players who might have struggled elsewhere but thrive in a new environment. The discussions amongst British Lakers fans on social media have been quite positive about this rumor, actually. There's a general consensus that bolstering the defense is a top priority, and Okogie fits that bill perfectly. People are talking about his tenaciousness, his ability to disrupt offenses, and how he could provide some much-needed defensive backbone. It's less about the glitz and glamour, and more about the practical benefits he brings to the team. You can almost hear the pub chatter, "Alright, mate, heard about Okogie? Reckon he'd be a proper nightmare for those opposing guards, innit?" That's the vibe. It's a no-nonsense signing that addresses a clear need. In the modern NBA, where spacing and shooting are king, having a dedicated stopper like Okogie becomes a strategic advantage. It allows your offensive stars to focus on what they do best, knowing there's a reliable defender ready to pick up the slack on the other end. Furthermore, his connection to previous teams, like the Phoenix Suns, where he showed flashes of brilliance in a strong defensive system, bodes well. He's played alongside stars and been part of winning cultures. This isn't some rookie coming in totally green. He knows what it takes to compete at a high level. That experience, combined with his raw talent and defensive motor, makes him an intriguing prospect for the Lakers. It's the sort of signing that might not grab the headlines globally, but within the inner circles of dedicated fans, especially those who appreciate the tactical nuances of the game, it's a talking point. It shows that the front office is looking at every avenue to improve the roster, not just the obvious ones. A player like Okogie could genuinely be the sort of glue guy that championship teams need, the one who does the dirty work that allows the stars to shine even brighter. It's a pragmatic, sensible move that could pay dividends. Blimey, so you want to talk about Josh Okogie, do I, eh? Right then, pull up a stool. Heard he's on the Lakers' radar, eh? Now, when I first heard a player got waived, my initial thoughts always a bit cynical, innit? Why'd they let him go then? But then, the proper Lakers fan in me, the one who's been getting up at silly o'clock in the morning to watch games for years, starts thinking about the upside. And with Okogie, it's all about the defense, isn't it? That's what we need, proper grit and hustle. He's not going to be dropping 30 points a night, no chance. But what he will do is make the opposing team's best perimeter player absolutely miserable. He'll be sticking to them like glue, chasing them round screens, generally being a complete pain in the arse. And honestly, mate, for us British fans, that's almost as exciting as a big dunk. We love a player who puts in the hard yards, who's willing to do the dirty work. It's like a good centre-back in football, you know? Doesn't get the glory, but without them, you're absolutely knackered. He's that sort of proper scrappy player. I remember watching him with the Suns a bit, and he just brings that energy off the bench. He's a pest, a proper defensive nuisance, and every championship team needs one of those. You need the guys who'll dive for the loose balls, who'll pick up the slack when LeBron or AD are resting or focused on offense. That's Okogie. And when you're watching these games at 3 AM here in the UK, you appreciate that effort more than ever. You see a guy giving it his all, and you think, yeah, that's my sort of player. The three-point shot can be a bit dodgy, I'll give you that. He's not exactly Klay Thompson out there. But if he can just hit the corner three reliably, combined with that absolutely relentless defense, he becomes a massive asset. It's a low-risk move for the Lakers, isn't it? They're not breaking the bank, and if he clicks, they've got themselves a proper rotation player. It just makes sense. It's a sensible bit of business, unlike some of the mental decisions we've seen from other clubs over the years. This one feels pragmatic, a bit like signing a reliable midfielder in the transfer window who just shores everything up. And honestly, when you see the Lakers struggling with defensive lapses, a guy like Okogie could be just what the doctor ordered. He brings that intensity, that kind of dogged determination you see in rugby players. He's not going to back down from anyone. So, yeah, I'm pretty buzzing about this rumor, actually. It might not be the blockbuster signing that gets everyone talking globally, but for us proper fans who watch every game, it's a smart, sensible move. Could be absolutely brilliant for bolstering the squad. What do you reckon, mate? Reckon he'd fit in? So, we're still on about Okogie, eh? Proper dedication, that is. What I was thinking about earlier, with him being waived, is that sometimes a change of scenery is exactly what a player needs, innit? He's been in systems where maybe he didn't quite flourish offensively, but with the Lakers, his role would be crystal clear. Come in, defend your absolute socks off, and hit the occasional open three. That kind of clarity can do wonders for a player's confidence. It's like when a footballer moves to a new club and suddenly finds their form because they're in a system that suits them perfectly. He won't be expected to be a primary scorer, which takes a lot of pressure off. And think about the matchups, mate. How many times have we seen our guards get absolutely run ragged by quick, shifty opponents? Too many times, I tell YA. Okogie gives you that option, that defensive specialist to throw at guys like Stephen Curry or J.A. Morant. He's got the athleticism to stay in front of them, and the grit to make every possession a battle. You need players who are willing to get into that physical battle, especially in the playoffs when every bucket is earned. He's not going to back down, and that's a quality you just can't teach. It's proper British bulldog spirit, that is. Plus, imagine the energy he'd bring. You know when the crowd goes a bit flat, and you need someone to make a hustle play, dive for a loose ball, or get a crucial deflection. That's Okogie's bread and butter. He's a spark plug, and every good team needs one of those to ignite things. So yeah, For a low-cost, high-effort signing, I reckon this could be an absolute proper shout for the Lakers. It might not be the sexy name that sells jerseys, but it's the kind of shrewd move that wins you games in the trenches, innit?